following is a Live the Dream Media production.
Everybody, good morning. It is nice to be back in the studio again in Marana.
Good morning, Marana.
No planes in the building this morning.
What we doing?
Okay. Oh man, this is like an orgy of chords here.
What's going on?
I think we switched here.
What happened?
You got yours? You good?
I'm good.
Oh man,
How are you doing?
A wire
David?
orgy over here.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
What's going on at your house?
Everything. Every sickness known to man has come through the door. It's the season, I was telling you before the show, I'm going to bring up the sickness because I know there's a bunch of parents relating to it right now that are like, oh, please end. The wife and I were talking about like, we feel like we've just been ran over by a couple trucks at this point because it was early last week is when some of the stuff started and then it's just continued to go. And then, of course, it's the gift that keeps on giving. Yeah. So you'd be crazy to think that you're not going to get it. So I've gone through my fair share. How about you? What's going on in your house? You guys got anything going on?
Well, I said to you, raising children's not for sissies. Getting old is not for sissies either. How about that? No, there's nothing going on. Well, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
I told the barber yesterday, my barber, Zach, did a great job. R&Z across the street here on Ina. Man, for a guy that doesn't work very hard, my schedule is full. Of cool stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just one cool thing after another, but
yeah. It's always crazy about you, Clint, though, is you could just do nothing if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But you don't.
I hate.
You're just like I
nothing
can't.
Sucks.
You know, I put on a
my
cabana
wife
wear?
with no cabana wear.
Yeah.
Hey, got the Bulls shirt on. We got 3 wins. I mean,
Bears. You mean?
I mean the Bears.
You guys have a winning record now, right?
Yeah, we got a winning record. I read something that kind of shocked me that they've won 8 straight at home.
No.
Which that's a good sign.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a really good sign.
No, you guys are actually. It's looking good. There's some clicking going on, and I'm like, all the trash I was talking before the season to Hayden.
We're still a few guys on the O line from getting there, but hey, one or two. And the reason I bring it up, I know there's a lot of Midwestern transplants in the Marana area. I know there's quite a few of us here, Bulls fans and Bears fans and Cubs or White Sox fans. We're not talking about any of that, by the way.
Yeah,
but the Bears look pretty. The Bears look pretty good.
Yeah,
I actually I contributed to the package this year. I'm going to watch some football.
Oh yeah, specifically for Chicago. Yeah. Look at you.
Well, I got the whole thing. I mean,
yeah. I'm not going to flex, but I got to give props to my bro because we share an account, so we have all that stuff. I did the multi-view for the first time. Like 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, this is insane.
Yeah.
But he does a lot of stuff with like, FanDuel and things like that. So
what package are you using?
We go through YouTube.
Yeah, that's us.
And we have the NFL package and all that stuff. That's the way to do it, man. I mean, the pricing is insanely good.
Like $400, it seems like.
Yeah.
We pay.
Plus, I see our ads on there and stuff all the time that we put for
cool
clients.
Is that?
It's so awesome. I'm like, oh yeah.
So if you're not seeing our ads, you're not listening to YouTube, Spotify.
Yeah,
Hulu,
Disney now. We're all Disney now. We're Disneyed up.
Yeah,
I saw the
Paramount.
Yeah, Paramount. Yeah, that's where that'll be some cool stuff to mess with. We haven't messed with it yet. But.
Hey, speaking of Paramount, they're the flagship of The Godfather. I got to throw it out there. They're on Pluto this month, free with ads. There are ads because Pluto's free, but you can watch the entire Godfather saga.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen them, or it's been a while since you've seen them, I would say pop on over. You and I were chatting the other day, and I'm sure you could tell what Clint's all fired up. Well, got the Godfather on.
It's a good business movie.
It's
surprisingly.
You know what? It really is.
I watched it not too long ago. Yeah. It really is.
And 2, I haven't got to 2 yet. I'm going to try 3 again one more time. Part 3.
Is that where it kind of gets a little?
Yeah, it's like it was a totally different movie.
Yeah.
And when you put it up against the other 2, of course, that's true with basically any other movie ever made. If you're stacking them up against Godfather 1 and 2, well, they were as good as it get. They really were.
Right.
I mean, that's coming from a Godfather fan, but they were well-made movies with a lot of They were just well acted, well produced, well directed.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So all the way across the board.
I don't know what it is, but during the winter time, especially like around Christmas, I just get so immersed in the mob movies. I don't know what it is.
When I watch it,
because you got that New York vibe, and I don't know what it is.
Early in Godfather 1, there is a scene, and it's Christmas. Mm-hmm. If you'll picture Michael and Kate, and they're shopping, and that's after the Don's been shot, and it's kind of like Die Hard. People watch Die as a Christmas movie. Well, Godfather 1 especially is more of a Christmas movie.
Yeah, there was a couple of years ago. Yeah, we had moved into our new house, and we were doing a Christmas thing at home, and I had invited the folks over. They're like, "What are we gonna do?" And I'm like, "We're gonna drink hot chocolate. We're gonna watch The Irishman. You know that new one, the newer one that's like 3 hours long." My kid you not, Dad, Devin.
Yeah, that's
we all just really sat there and we just and then wife and mom, they were whipping up all the goods and stuff. Yeah. But we watched The Irishman. That's a good one. What do you call it? That's a sleeper right there. I think that's
I'm trying to remember. I've watched it a couple times, but the last time I watched it, I was on a flight somewhere and I watched it. I don't remember where.
About Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah, I forget where I was going.
They ever find him?
No. July of 1975. He's been MIA.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they've thought he was everywhere. Every 6 months, somebody goes, "Come dig up my farm," or I killed Jimmy, and there for a long time they thought he was in the Jets stadium, in East Rutherford.
Yeah,
they thought he was in the end zone, buried in the end zone.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, and they dug it up. I mean, they did some tests to determine he wasn't there. You know what? What happened? Honestly, probably what happened to Jimmy is pretty close to what in the movie. Have you ever seen the movie Hoffa? With Jack Nicholson playing Hoffa.
Should I?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a very good movie. It's a really good movie. It's a movie kind of about pre-Jimmy, early Jimmy, how he built it. And Danny DeVito, of all people, plays his confidant, his dude. Yeah, it's a really good movie. The ending of it, I won't give it away. I mean, obviously he's missing, but Jimmy probably got put in taken in to the salvage yard, and the movie doesn't actually show that. By the way, that's me speculating how the movie ends. He probably got crushed in steel and refined, in a car. Is kind of what I'm thinking.
You know what my favorite duo is though with those movies? Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci.
Yeah,
like in Casino.
Yeah.
You ever seen that one?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Man.
De Niro, yes, for sure. But Pesci, I mean, the dude is just crazy.
I heard a lot of the, what was it? The movie.
This is, by the way, the local Marana movie.
Yeah, we're doing a movie.
Mob movie. Marana's mob movie matinee.
We can't just talk about Marana stuff all the time. We got to give you something cool. And we got plenty of Marana stuff coming on. At 9 o'clock today, we have Sarah Whaley, who is
excited about that.
Associate Director of Exceptional Student Services at Play and Learn. PAL, it's a preschool here right down the road on Old Father. She's going to be joining us at 9 a.m. And then next week, we're going to have Dr. Streeter in to talk about Prop 411. We're gonna dive into it and have a good conversation about it. What's pros, what's cons, stuff like that. So, but anyways, going back to the movie stuff. That combo, what is it? What's the one that they're together? And Goodfellas. Yes, a bunch of that was improv.
Yeah,
by Joe Pesci.
Yeah,
they said, especially in the bar scene.
Great movie.
He's great
movie. Got the single most for me, and I think a lot of people, movie buffs. The single greatest single shot is, and you know which one I'm going with, is when Ray Liotta, the Howard, what was his name? Hunt?
It's when they go in the club, right?
Yeah, when they go in the club, him and his future bride, when they go in the club, that's one single shot from the street, down the stairs, through the kitchen, through the whole thing, out to the center stage, basically. Front and center, basically. That's one single shot.
Cinematic art. You know who did something like that recently? The Bear.
The Bear did something similar to that.
Yeah.
Actually, and the Bears was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Did you finish that season yet?
No, I've stopped on 4. I'm stopped on 4.
You're like, I gotta figure myself out, get myself back together, prep myself. Where's my sweat towel?
It was so good. The first, I don't know how. It's kind of one of those things. How do you improve on season 1? Season 1 was so good.
It was,
and then season 2 just got to be a lot of screaming and hollering at each other.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, the whole family's together and they're F-bombing everybody and screaming and hollering at each other. And it's like, whoa. And then what are we in 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
3, what I had to do with 3 is look at it in a cinematic art way, because I was really enjoying the soundtracking to it. And I'm like, what is this? It was 9 Inch Nails. A lot of the noise and the songs and stuff going on in the background was 9 Inch Nails, and I had no idea that they did like movie scores.
I'm not done with it,
but apparently they do that whole. So one of the episodes flowed to all their music. If you watch all the show, the first episode, just everything flowed to it. I was like, oh, that's really. It was like a music video, but
it was kind of rough. For anybody that hasn't seen it, I would highly recommend season 1. Season 2 is not bad. But season 1, if you can get past David turned me onto it, and the first 15 minutes was just it, and it's not that like there's any like blood, gore, or any of that. It's just intense.
Yeah,
they're working in a restaurant. I'm not giving anything away. They're working in a restaurant, and it's just intense. And I'm like, oh.
Does it take you back to the bakery on some days?
And
in the early days,
the different restaurants I've worked in, and And I had to clean that. But once I got past that, the storytelling. See, and I'm a storyteller. The music video is great and all that. That's fun. But I'm a storyteller, and story in season 1 was outstanding.
Yeah.
Great hook at the end. Yeah. Incredible.
Hey, Raul, have you seen any of these movies we were talking about, like the Goodfellas and Casino and all that? Have you seen those?
I haven't seen any of those.
No.
You know what? We'll have to have you know what I've always wanted to do? I heard somebody did this, and I'm like, that's cool.
Do like a movie marathon at Workday?
They did, yes. Yes, over the holidays.
I'm listening.
Here's what they did, and this is really cool. I would definitely sign on to this. We would be able to use the kitchen for a lot of this. Mm-hmm. They had a Godfather marathon, the first 2. So we're talking 6 hours, and they served the same, because there's a lot of eating in The Godfather.
Yeah.
Right? Starts with a massive wedding. They served those courses through the, I mean, you would have to roll out when it's over. You'd probably take a break. But they had all the foods that they were making in the Godfather when they were making it. And I'm like, I could do that.
Yeah.
You know, spaghetti and meatballs and wedding cake and
cannoli.
Don't leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
Hey, I got a question for you. Sopranos or The Godfather, which one do you think is better?
The Godfather.
Yeah, not even
Sopranos
close.
is good. I mean, I would say there's probably the ending was complete crap.
Yeah.
You know, the ending just like there was no closure in it. And
the ending was awful.
That frustrated a lot of people I know, and including myself.
Hey,
I was like, what
full
is this?
disclosure, I was living on the road at that time, literally. I've seen this
hard drive, right? Is that what they called you back then? Hard drive.
Yeah. Thank you, Samo. But I have seen The Sopranos, but I haven't seen the entire series.
Oh yeah.
What was like 6 years? Something like 6, 7 years.
I don't know. How many seasons was it, Raul?
I've seen six seasons, but this last one sucked.
I've seen parts of it, and even over the years, thought maybe I'd start watching it. It was what I saw was good. I'll tell you what I did watch, and this is one of those hidden gems that was really good. But again, one of those HBO series that after a couple seasons, the first couple, and that was Boardwalk Empire. With what's his name? Steve. What's his name? He was in The Big Lebowski. He's all over the place. He was a firefighter was an actor, but he was a firefighter in New York at one point. And when 9/11 happened, he went back and joined his old battalion and went and did some stuff. Steve Buscemi.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, Steve Buscemi and great. Again, first couple. It's Prohibition. 1920. There's characters in there like Lucky Luciano, Myers Lansky, Al Capone. Their characters are in this show. It's fictional, based on a guy that was a true life, like civic leader, boss leader in Atlantic City in the early 20s. Nucky Thompson was his name. And Steve plays him in this character. The first couple seasons were out. They had me hooked.
Yeah.
Then it got a little squirrely towards the end. And
then it just disappeared.
Yeah, and it kind of went away, and no one ever. I don't hear anybody talk about it. But man, those first 2 seasons were really, really good. I waited. It was Sunday night, and every Sunday night I've got to.
Oh, no, you remember that? You got to plan your day ahead. Remember those days?
Yeah.
We need to have everything on demand.
Yeah.
Hey, Raul, The Irishman is a newer movie. I think it came out 2019, 2020. You should watch that one. That's a good one to see how the world really works there, buddy.
Is that
The
right?
Irishman. Wait,
The Irishman.
What's it about? Is it like a business movie almost? Or
It's a mafia movie.
Yeah.
They got the Teamsters and all that
I'm
stuff.
going to look and see when they are. Give me a second. Hey, real quick, and then we'll probably wrap up our movie segment here. But honestly, and I've said this numerous times, The Godfather, especially Part 1, Part 2 to a lesser degree, but The Godfather is probably, for me, the coolest or most relatable business movie I've ever seen that didn't have anything to do with business. And yet it is. To me, it's like Business 101.
Relationship stuff?
Yeah.
What are you talking? What component exactly are you referencing?
Here's the thing. Here's the reality of it.
Because there is murder in there.
There's a lot of murder and double dealing and backstabbing and all kinds of crazy things. But here's the thing. I remember a business class I took, Southern Illinois University, Go Salukis, SIU. I think I was a freshman, a business class. I don't remember which one it was, and I can't even think of the guy's name. But he's like, basic capitalism is like the mob, because if you produce, you're good. If you don't produce, you're not good. That's basic capitalism 101. And there was no like murder or anything involved in this. It's just what's that guy's name? And you know who I'm talking about because we've shared videos of him, that Michael Frazizi or.
Oh, the one that was on Steve Bartlett's podcast, the guy that was running the gas station thing. Oh, yeah.
And he was on there yesterday. Have you seen that new cut of him? He's like, he went to what was the guy's name that was the mob boss at the time? Junior. I can't think of his name right off the top of my head. He went to him. He goes, "Okay, here, I'm gonna tell you something." He goes, "I'm gonna show you more money than you've ever seen." This is one of the 5 heads of the 5 families, and he's telling him this. He says, "I'm gonna show you more money than you've ever seen," and it proved to be accurate because this happened in the 70s, I believe. He goes, "We're gonna extort the United States government on sales tax on gasoline."
Yeah.
And he goes, and I was taking, this was Michael saying, he was taking to the boss $1.2 million a week.
Yes. Insane. If you have a chance, listen to that podcast. It's on the Diary of a CEO with Steve Bartlett. It's amazing. Just hearing how they did it.
Here's the deal. He goes, here's the deal. We'll screw this up if we're not careful because everybody's going to want a piece of this action. It's just too lucrative. He goes, Michael says, I have to win every argument.
Yeah, I remember.
He goes, and $1.2 million will buy you a lot of loyalty. The point being is, and this is kind of how life should be. It's not that way, but it kind of should be. We've said it a lot in here. If you do something that contributes to a positive outcome, and you're a major contributor to that, what should happen?
You should be compensated for it
in a major way, right?
Right.
You should stand there and be able to be compensated in a big way. Now, life we know doesn't always work that way, and if you didn't do much, you don't get much. If you're an earner, as they would say in the mob, you're good.
Yeah,
you can pretty much do whatever you want. If you're not an earner, man, somebody's watching every move you make, and if you get out of line, you're done. Business and life should kind of be that way, in my opinion. Nobody's whacking anybody. I'm not suggesting that. Nobody's ended up in a trunk of a car. I'm not suggesting that. But I'm just saying you should be able to. That's a world aspire to live in. If you've done something and you're good at it and you're successful, you should be compensated accordingly.
Yeah, I think a lot of that still exists. I think if you look at companies like SpaceX, Tesla, stuff like that, they approach it with that kind of. There's also another big tech company. Remember, they were like, they called them the Golden Cuffs.
Yeah,
like they're just paying these folks so much.
What was the dude that gave? And I'll have to check this out. But this guy, this is several years ago, and I'm like, that's a genius move. One of them right now, the minimum wage to work for this company $70,000. That's entry level starting.
That's amazing.
Where everybody starts at least 70. But this guy gave all the proceeds, all the profits of this tech company. This is a few years ago. Split it amongst the employees.
Yeah,
all profits, depending on how long you'd been there. I mean, the guy that'd been there a year didn't get the same as some gal that'd been there 5 years. Mm-hmm. But he took all the profits and split it amongst his employees. And I'm like, that's genius.
Yeah,
because what happens next year? We're going to bust it because we know there might be a pretty sizable bonus waiting for us at Christmas time, unlike
Chevy Chase. Yeah. Christmas vacation.
Here's your jelly of the month.
Oh, man.
Hey, you see why we enjoy doing...
Oh, yeah.
You see why we enjoy doing it? We can talk about anything we want. No FCC.
Yeah.
Hey, hit the censor button real quick. Do you got that one in there, Raul?
He don't know. I gotta show him where that's at. He's still
that I would. You're not going to hear me using profanity on here, but on the Live to Dream Media Network, I've heard some profanity from time to time.
Yeah. If you're hearing a saw in the background, we apologize. We don't know what is going on outside. Apparently, we got a steel mill outside the building, but. It's probably not in the feed, but anyways, yeah. It's let's get back to local. Hey, that was a great conversation on movies. This is why I love this because, especially people listening. I want to say, mad props to those that are listening today on the app. Mm-hmm. We are almost at 1,000 listeners on the app.
Thank you so much.
It's pretty cool. We haven't really pushed it yet, but if you haven't yet, do yourself a favor and go download the Live the Dream Media app. We're going to have various shows on there, and we also have music because we are now licensed through BMI as an internet radio station. So all the content from creators in your community is available on that app live. Now, if you want to go listen to some stuff post, you can go visit our YouTube, visit our socials. You'll be able to do that as well. Or look up the shows on Spotify and Apple, and you'll be able to find them. You know, we got great talent like Veronica Soto. We've also got Sydney Encinas, who's really killing it. And we have two new programs that joined us, Southwest Flavor with Ron Arenas and the Backseat Thriver with Christina Johnson.
Yeah.
And there's more to come.
Lots more.
And then after this show, we've got the King of Talk here in Southern Arizona, Christopher DeSimone is going to come and take over the studio.
The D-Train.
The D-Train is going to be in here. Yeah. So
and I'm not going to jump ahead, but he's got a pretty special guest lined up for next week. I'll let him share it when he comes on later.
My man. Yeah. So hey, you know what? Let's go to break. Do you see our guest here yet, Raul, on the cameras?
They're not here yet, brother.
They're not here yet. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, hopefully they're okay.
Hey, real quick on the app. Here's something cool. At the end of the month, we're gonna let listeners take over the music feed
with some spooky Halloween playlist.
Dude.
Yeah. So if you have a really cool spooky Halloween playlist that you've put together on Spotify, shoot it to us via email, contact@ltdmedia.net, and we will possibly, I'm not gonna say for sure, we'll possibly play your playlist on our internet radio station. Now, I do want to cover, we're not going to allow anything crazy, obscene stuff.
We've got the explicit filter on.
We got the explicit filter. We're not required to because we're not FCC regulated, but in this instance, we are not going to allow that stuff. So if you want to put together a really cool playlist, please do and send it our way. Also, going into next month, we're going to start featuring some local music on our radio station. We'll put out an announcement later for that. But our good friend Jalissa Lopez is going to be the first local artist in our radio rotation. Well deserved. You know, she comes in here. She's coming in here on the 23rd, I believe, for another part. She's going to promote a show that's going on.
Cool.
And so
there's a couple podcasts with her on that app, isn't there? Should be.
Yeah, if you go on our app, you can go and look at some of our podcasts, and you'll be able to find it.
She should be there somewhere.
Yes. The other thing that's cool about the app that we got launched last week is thisismarana.com is one of our local blog / news entities. And we have a new journalist that's working with us, Sabian Bermudez. Yes, he's putting some stuff together. He's doing some sports stuff. He's going to be doing some other stuff for This Is Marana. And you can read those stories on our app. You can check out some of the latest stuff coming up and make sure you do that. And if you want to be a sponsor on anything we have, our news site, our app, our shows, we are reaching thousands and thousands of local people every day. Don't miss out on the opportunity. We have plenty of ad space available, sponsorship space available.
It's real inexpensive.
It's real inexpensive. This is the new way of doing things. We want people to realize that we are putting together a new local way to connect with folks without any crazy agendas, crazy stuff going on that we've been seeing. And we're playing music right now that is mostly country, older rock, stuff like that. But as we expand, we will be building a few more radio stations. So if you're interested in that as well, if you want to start your own radio station with us, reach out to us and we'll let you know how we make that happen. So let's go to break. It's 8:55. Let's do this. And we will talk to you soon. And hopefully we'll have Sarah here with us.
Hi, I'm Alan Murdoch. For the past 20 years, I've been buying, fixing, and selling properties right here in Southern Arizona. And I want to buy your property. Whether it's a house, apartment, commercial building, or vacant land, regardless of the condition or the situation, I want to talk to you. When you sell to me, I pay cash and it's hassle-free. No repairs, no closing costs, and no commissions. If you have a property you don't want to deal with and you want a quick solution, call, text, or visit selltalon.com. Again, that's selltalon.com.
Discover the power of 88 Crime, where your anonymous tips are rewarded with cash. When you call in anonymously with the tip, you are given a code. With the code and a password, you can walk into a bank and redeem your reward anonymously. If your anonymous tip results in a felony arrest, you can claim up to $2,500 cash reward. Let's stop the silence on crime and strive for a safer community. For more information, please visit 88crime.org or call 88crime.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, CopperCreekCookies.net. We can print anything on our soft vanilla logo cookies. We deliver them and other sweet treats locally. We are located at 4249 West Ina Road, Suite 121. Call us 520-300-1131. We bake smiles. Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, CopperCreekCookies.net.
Calling all families. The Marana Pumpkin Patch is your ticket to fall fun for everyone. From toddlers to grandparents. We've got it all. Jumping pillows, a diesel train, a super slide, and more. Kids will love our farm animals, while adults will love our famous corn maze. And don't forget our 70-acre pumpkin patch from Post Farms. Marana Pumpkin Patch, where families make unforgettable fall memories. Tickets available now at maranapumpkinpatch.com.
And we are back, just like that. Thanks, Raul. We do want to clarify for the listeners and viewers that Sarah was actually here at 8:41.
Exactly.
But I think she was out of camera view because Raul looked and didn't see her. You all right over there, Raul?
Oh, I'm saying I was told to look at the cameras to see when she was going to show up. I kept looking at the camera, didn't see anyone. I didn't know she snuck in. Like she said, she's in stealth mode. But welcome to local Marana.
Thanks, Raul. Thank you.
This is your first time on this, and I'm sure you'll be on here more, especially after our cafe. We were like, hey, we got to come on here and announce stuff, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Dr. Streeter put that together, right?
Yeah, he worked with, I believe, Allie Benjamin in our PR department to develop that. So, yeah, a really great opportunity.
Yeah, it's probably one of the coolest things ever. So I want the listeners to know about you, who you are, what you do at the facility down the street here, and what the goal of it is. So let's get into that.
Yeah, so I am the Associate Director of Exceptional Student Services within Marana Unified School District, and really kind of a long-winded way of saying I work with special education and certain programming within our district. And specifically, I'm located in the old Thornydale Elementary. It's PAL, Play and Learn Preschool. And we service kids ages 3 to 5 with identified special education needs. And so that's really kind of my primary area of focus. And that includes some child find pieces. So that's actually part of federal law where every district's responsible for identifying, locating, and evaluating students with suspected disabilities. And so we have families that kind of come to us through a variety of avenues. Sometimes there's already early intervention services through our state that they're already working with, and so we get a referral that way. Sometimes it's like, you take your kid to the pediatrician and they're not maybe hitting developmental milestones, and so they express that concern. And sometimes it's just a parent calling up and saying, hey, I'm curious about this. My kid is not doing this, or my kid is doing that. And so we bring them in. But really, that's kind of in a nutshell the day-to-day.
Yeah. So doing that with the families, you and I had talked before the show, and, I was expressing how, I can't understand how that feels going through that process of, identifying and learning something about your child that, is going to be pretty life-changing, right, for a lot of people, because it's not just the child, it's everybody involved in helping them get through this new way of approaching things and the new way of living and educating. How do you guys help accommodate that life-changing information and or the emotions that come with it? What do you guys have in place to help families with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, oftentimes when families come to us, it is their first opportunity or first point of contact with the school in general, right? Oftentimes these are families with 3 and 4-year-olds. And not only is it their first touch point, they're coming to us because maybe there is a concern. And as a parent, that can be really intimidating, right? Like all the emotions you just referenced. And we really want to ensure that, A, we validate that, but B, that we're also really a source of support for them in terms of information and knowledge, and that we walk them through that process and ensuring that it's really kind of a reassuring and a positive one. Because I think when you hear that, hey, okay, my kid's got these challenges, or my student's going to need these additional supports in order to be successful throughout their educational career, as a parent, and I've been there as a parent in that position, you kind of think about, like, you suddenly in those seconds you flash ahead for the next 16, 17, 18 years of your kid's life, thinking like, hey, what does that mean for my kid? And so we just really want to ensure that we explain that, walk them through kind of that process step by step of, here are the supports, here's what that looks like. Also help families really understand their rights, because they do have rights in that process. And I think really important is for them to understand that they are a partner with us in that support. This is not just like a school team making decisions about their kid and then telling them, but it really is a partnership that we want parental involvement in. We want to know about their kid, what's successful for them, and for them to really feel like we are partnering with them to support their kid, not just with us as they start in pre-K, but really throughout their entire K-12 journey in MUSD. And I think, equally important is when you talk about like that first contact with the school, is we want them to walk away with that of like, I want my kid at that school. Like, I want my kid in that district. You never want to be the reason somebody walks away thinking like, well, where else can I send my kid to school? And so I think we really take that seriously, that we want families to feel invested and supported and collaborated with as they start this process for their child.
Has this program always existed at MUSD? Is this pretty new?
No, I mean, prior to it being called PAL, it was called Peak, and years and years and years ago, it's been in existence. It's grown considerably. It used to be located at a couple different sites, taking up like 1 or 2 rooms with like 2 teachers. We now have 7 teachers, full-time special education, early childhood certified teachers. We have 2 full-time psychs that work with us. We have 4 speech-language pathologists, 2 occupational therapists, 2 physical therapists that all work together pretty collaboratively to support students. And so, our numbers fluctuate. We intake kids throughout the year. As kids turn 3 is when they become eligible to come to us. So we typically start around 120 kids, and by the end of the year, we're well over 200. So pretty large, kind of, taking over an entire campus now at this point.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible, all the resources and stuff you guys have in place. Now, are folks that are outside of the district able to open enroll into this program as well, like other schools, if I'm not mistaken? And you can correct me on this. It's been a while since I've been in the schools or involved, but are they allowed to come and open enroll into the program outside of the district, or is this district specific in regards to the resources?
So the pre-K piece is district specific. And so the ages 3 to 5, you do go to your school of residency. So if you reside within MUSD, you would call us. If you resided within a different school district, neighboring school district, you would call that school district, and they all have similar type processes and programs to support. It gets a little bit different once kids enter K-12 because then we do take open enrollment. And so at that point, then if we accept you in open enrollment in those programs, then we would provide those services. But at this pre-K process, we do not do open enrollment, and you do have to reside within MUSD's boundaries in order to come to Pell.
All right, thank you for clearing that up.
Absolutely.
That was a question I was like, I got to figure out on that,
And it's a great question because that's something we get a lot of phone calls about of like, hey, we've heard you've got this program. And, we would love to obviously take everybody, but there's limited availability in that. But every district does have something comparable to service the needs of those students.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. Yeah, and financial resources are very important.
Right.
To help all that happen.
Personnel resources, just tied to finances. So absolutely.
So give the listeners a little history about Sarah, okay? Because we've covered the program you're doing now, but you didn't just end up here, right? You did a lot of other things beforehand.
I did.
So give the listeners some insight about all the awesome stuff you've done before here, know. And I'll let you guys know for full transparency. Sarah and I used to work at the high school together. She was an administrator, and you were the
Dean and Athletic Director.
Director, yeah. So she was a big dog on campus, and I was the SRO there at the time, and we worked together collaboratively with, Town of Marana and the school district, and we had a great time doing that. It was a fast 3 years.
Very, very fast,
But I want everybody to know about Sarah and things you've done and how you've ended up here.
Yeah. Kind of a winding path a little bit. I grew up predominantly in Tucson, lived a couple different places childhood, and then went to school up in Phoenix and actually took my first teaching job up there. So I was a high school English teacher is how I started my educational career. Worked at Alhambra High School up there. And then when my husband and I relocated to Tucson, I worked at Flowing Wells High School, also as an English teacher. And then I started having kids. We have 3 wonderful kids, and so I stayed home for 9 years with them. And how I ended up in Marana is actually kind of just a happy coincidence. When my youngest, who's now 14, was like a year old, I went out to a basketball game at Marana High School. A friend of mine was the women's basketball coach, and I was also friends with the Flowing Wells women's basketball coach. They're playing each other. Went to the game. Flowing Wells beat Marana. So after the game, the Marana coach was like, hey, I want to know your input on the game. Of course, I've always got something to say about basketball. Like that's my sport. And so I started volunteering with her, and then she ended up leaving that year. I took over the program for a couple of years. In that time, I recognized, I really miss education. I miss being around kids. I miss having this kind of impact, and went back to school, got my master's in educational leadership, and with the intention of going back and teaching when all my kids were in school for a couple of years, and then pursuing admin. Happened a lot faster. I ended up, long story short, applying for a job, got a job about 2 years earlier than planned, had to scramble for childcare. But that was the dean position at Marana High School. And so I did that for a year and a half. And then a year and a half in, I actually transitioned to both the dean/athletic director. And so I was there for a total of 6 years. And David and I met at that time. David and I spent a ton of time together, just working with students, student safety issues, things like that. I think one of the things that I really appreciated working with you is I think you and I had similar philosophies in that we really took time to try to build relationships with kids. We often saw kids after they'd made a poor decision, right? And we took the time to kind of build those relationships and help coach them. Like, if you're in this position again, what different decision can you make?
Yeah.
And then I also got to work with David as the athletic director. You coached within our football program, and I think there's power. And when you have somebody like your SRO building those relationships with kids, it really does impact a campus community, I think, for the positive.
Yeah.
So we remained friends. I was there for 6 years. And then the last three years I spent at Marana Middle as an associate principal. Loved that experience as well. And then now this has been my second year in this position. And so, people always ask, like, well, do you miss this? Do you love that? Which did you like the best? And I mean, I can honestly say, like, I've loved them all. They've all been wonderful experiences. I love to learn and grow. I like to always feel a little uncomfortable, like that I'm having to learn something new. So, it's been a wonderful experience in MUSD, and I'm fortunate to have had the experiences that I've had.
Yeah. So high school, middle school, now this, going back to the work we did, it was so cool. And you were talking about the coaching thing, and I think coaching is one of look what happened from what you did with it, right? It started out with coaching and stuff like that. Yeah. I think coaching is one of the best things you can do in your community.
100%.
And, I mean, most of them positions are volunteer positions. So when you see those coaches out there, for the most part, they're not getting paid or anything. They're out there putting their time in for a lot of things, unless they're like a head coach and stuff like that. But there's a lot of volunteers that help out with the programs and all that stuff. And it's being a law enforcement officer. And if you're a cop and thinking about being an SRO and you're listening to this show, I think it's imperative that you find another way to connect with the campus other than just being law enforcement. Because I couldn't tell you how cool it was to be walking down the hallways to hear kids yell, "Hey, coach, how are you?"
Right.
When you're in full uniform.
Yep.
Like
absolutely.
it's just insane. It's so cool to see, as opposed to, oh, there's the cop, right? There's the, oh my gosh, there's the SRO.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus the kids, just to share, they were a lot more comfortable with just walking in and giving information about stuff.
Yeah, I would
concerns.
I think that goes back to that relationship piece. If they know that they can trust you, that you are there to help them, they're going to be a lot more forthcoming with some things and kind of feel that sense of obligation to protect their campus, like protect their community. I 100% agree with you. And I think coaching, I did it for the entire time I taught. If you can earn a living off of that, I think that's an amazing opportunity. I loved every minute of every program I coached, because you do get those different types of relationships with kids, and you really get to kind of build that and build their confidence, their competency, and all of those things.
Yeah. And you get to learn how to coach just different mindsets and people that come from different areas, different cultures, different,
Absolutely.
I mean, even in high school, I remember we had a special education student on our team. And he was our punter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like you get to coach all these different elements. So it prepares you to go out into the real world. And if you're a leader like you in the district, you already have a full toolbox of skills, leading different cultures and everything else. So I think it's a really good thing to do. So what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to convince more people to go out and coach, whether it's at a school program, whether it's at a church program or something. Go coach, because I've been hearing a lot of stories and organizations throughout town and stuff that the number of coaches that are coming in, it's dropping.
Absolutely.
And we need people to lead for the next generation. We need people to step up. So we're sharing these stories about it, and I think it's very important for people to do coaching and to volunteer. So it's a great way to grow with the community and learn from other folks too. Speaking of coaching, Coach Stewart has the Marana High School football team
They're
number
rolling.
1 in the state
They
right
are
now.
rolling.
Can you believe that?
No, I mean, I think it's fantastic. And to have seen kind of how that trajectory occurred over multiple coaches over multiple years, and just what has been built out there, I think is something, all of us in Marana are very proud of. But yeah, they're rolling.
We're all talking around here like when the AIA stuff came out yesterday, we were like, how weird is it to see a Tucson team?
Yeah.
Number 1, I was talking to Raul because he's our sports guy.
Yeah.
Southern Arizona Sports Talk is his show. It's every Friday at 8:30 in the morning.
Awesome.
We can't remember the last time that happened.
No, I mean, I'd have to go back probably and do a little
Maybe the
digging
4A
and
stuff,
research.
with your Sabinos and stuff like that, maybe in the early 2000s and whatnot. But I'm like, wow,
No, it's impressive. It's been awesome to just kind of watch that trajectory and see that evolution of how that's become, because it doesn't happen overnight, right? It's happened over many years of kind of changing a culture and building a program and putting the right pieces in place. And that takes a lot of time, a lot of effort by coaches and by athletes and players and all of those that support them, families that are supporting their athletes getting to practices, things like that. So.
Yeah. Hey, Raul, let's go to a quick sponsorship break. After we get back, I want to talk to you about how the community can help with what you guys are doing over there.
Sure. Sounds great.
Thanks, Raul.
Hi, I'm Alan Murdoch. For the past 20 years, I've been buying, fixing, and selling properties right here in Southern Arizona. And I want to buy your property. Whether it's a house, apartment, commercial building, or vacant land, regardless of the condition or the situation, I want to talk to you. When you sell to me, I pay cash and it's hassle-free. No repairs, no closing costs, and no commissions. If you have a property you don't want to deal with and you want a quick solution, call, text, or visit selltalon.com. Again, that's selltalon.com.
Discover the power of 88 Crime, where your anonymous tips are rewarded with cash. When you call in anonymously with the tip, you are given a code. With the code and a password, you can walk into a bank and redeem your reward anonymously. If your anonymous tip results in a felony arrest, you can claim up to $2,500 cash reward. Let's stop the silence on crime and strive for a safer community. For more information, please visit 88crime.org or call 88crime.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, coppercreekcookies.net. We can print anything on our soft vanilla logo cookies. We deliver them and other sweet treats locally. We are located at 4249 West Ina Road, Suite 121. Call us 520-300-1131. We bake smiles. Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, coppercreekcookies.net.
Calling all families. The Marana Pumpkin Patch is your ticket to fall fun for everyone. From toddlers to grandparents. We've got it all. Jumping pillows, a diesel train, a super slide, and more. Kids will love our farm animals, while adults will love our famous corn maze. And don't forget our 70-acre pumpkin patch from Post Farms. Marana Pumpkin Patch, where families make unforgettable fall memories. Tickets available now at maranapumpkinpatch.com.
That was a quick 15 minutes. That was a quick segment there. We got down that road, though, and talking about football. We were talking about through the break. Raul said that it hasn't been since 1980 that a Southern Arizona school was number one in the power rankings.
Yeah, some of us weren't even born then.
I wasn't 89. I was born in 89.
I was 2. Yeah.
You're 2?
I was 2. I was 2. It was a long time ago.
So amazing program. It was great sitting with you at that lunch at the cafe.
Yeah, thank you so much for being there.
Yeah, and then with the parents that have a student there, it was really, really cool, and some of your staff was there. And one of the conversations that really struck me was, how can the community help your program?
Yeah.
Right? What are things you can do to help the program with the kids and all that stuff, and then with staff, right? Taking care of staff and stuff like that, Teacher Appreciation Day and things like that. During our conversation, there isn't a non-for-profit tied to it at this point for donating stuff, but people can still donate things for teacher appreciation and stuff like that. Yeah. So how would they go about doing that with how things are set up there right now? Yeah.
So we're working with a family right now who's kind of taken the lead on that in terms of getting some stuff for teachers, supplies for teachers, and really just contacting me or contacting our office, and we can kind of work out whatever people are thinking. We're happy to collaborate anytime with anyone about that. We're looking maybe at having a parent organization maybe next year to kind of help streamline and facilitate that, similar to some of our elementary schools. So that's kind of in the works as well, hopefully, that we can get that off the ground again and sustain that. So a lot of listeners probably don't know what the PTO does and what its role is with the schools. Can you give a little insight on what it does and how it helps with providing resources and stuff for the school? Yeah, so it varies from sites, and obviously, it's similar if you're from a secondary perspective to a booster club, but it really just kind of helps support, whether it's fundraising, whether it's organizing, kind of fundraising dinner activities at local businesses. There's kind of a host of things that they do. They work with either teachers or administrators, oftentimes on like the teacher appreciation things to maybe bring in something. So it really varies by site. But I think it's a great way for parents to really get involved and feel connected to the school and be a support to the school in that way. And so we're always looking for opportunities. One of the things Dave and I talked about at that function a week or so ago was, we, because of kind of the structure of our day, we don't do field trips with our students or things like that, but we're really looking for opportunities for, community partnerships maybe to come to us. Like we had Northwest Fire last year come out to our students, and they were awesome. They came out and talked about being community helpers. They read our kids a book. They brought their uniforms, their fire trucks, and it was great. Like we still have kids talking about it. They're coming back again this year. So any kind of opportunities, I think we're really looking for to partner with community to give our kids that exposure and that experience, recognizing, some of our limitations just in our scheduling and the age of our kids and things like that. But yeah, we'd love to partner with anybody within our community to kind of give our kids those experiences. All right, yeah. And partnering with businesses too and stuff like that's really cool. So if you're a business interested in partnering and you want to do something, reach out to Sarah. Yeah, absolutely. And, we have flown through this
this session today. We got through all the questions.
We're efficient, David.
We're efficient. Yeah, we were back. We had to be. No, we had no choice in that. Yeah. And I just want to thank you for taking time out of your day to come and talk with us on the local Marana live stream. This will also be in a podcast format later, so people can go back and you can share it with your staff and stuff like that. But no, we really want to appreciate it, and we want to appreciate the relationship that we've been building with Marana Unified School District. We're really excited to announce that next week, Dr. Streeter is going to join us here in studio to talk about Prop 411. We're going to get in the nitty gritty of that. So I've been reading up on it at home. I have the pamphlet. I'm like trying to understand, doing the math on how much more taxes
it's a large pamphlet.
I was like, oh man, this is big. I thought it was like a bunch of different stuff, but it was like just one in particular.
Yeah.
So we're going to dive into that. And, again, the listeners too, we wouldn't be able to do any of this without you. And we also want to thank our sponsors, Zelda Allen, the Marana Pumpkin Patch. If you're looking for something to do this fall, come on. That's the place to go. Go to the Pumpkin Patch. Go have fun. We're going to be heading out there soon with our kids. And Dove Mountain Epoxy. If you're looking to get your floors redone, make sure you take care of your floors properly and hire the pros at Dove Mountain Epoxy. It's been great. We're going to cut out a little early today. We have to do a technological repair between breaks of this show and the next. You're going to hang in tight on our app. Chris DeSimone is going to be here with the Working Title live stream up next at 10 a.m., so don't miss that. Sarah, it's been a pleasure having you here today. Do you have any questions for me?
No, thank you so much for having me. I just am really grateful for the opportunity to be here and chat with you guys.
Yeah, and anytime you want to come on and talk about something else you guys are doing, or you have just something, reach out and we'll make it happen.
Fantastic. Thank you guys so much.
Raul, thank you so much for your help with everything. We appreciate you as always. I know it's a lot to learn, but you're doing awesome, man, and we're going to keep going. Everybody have a good rest of the week. It's the middle point. The weekend is almost here. The cooler temperatures, don't know. We'll see. Have a good one, guys.
Never coming.